daunting interesting in Maidiacs. Overlap there. It's some overlap in the Japanese culture. Hold me tight. Yeah, this feels like the most definite, romantic and so. You know what it reminds me of? Like a fighting game, right? And I love fighting games. Yeah, it reminds me of a fighting game. Obviously, then the dull sims. If anyone, the dull sim stage. I guess it's about whom we want to be free, right? It's a bit set it free if you love it. Oh, hello everyone. Today we're doing another Band-Maid reaction video, and today we're gonna do Real Existence. I will say easily this has the best lyrics of all the Band-Maid songs I've listened to so far. Really loved it. More involved into an actual like romantic storyline, something like that, or about like freedom and set it free if you love it or whatever, right? But I think it's really interesting, really good, and also really interesting music video. It's be great. And as a side note, I didn't have time earlier this week, last Thursday, because I was in Florida, to react or review to the actual anime, right? The Rock Lady Band-Maid anime kind of thing. So I'm gonna do it later tonight, in maybe like 5 hours from now. So if you're interested in anime, guys, subscribe to the like button. I hope you're gonna have the third band member coming today, because she was really interesting to me. The white hair lady that looks like she might be a goddess or something like that. I don't know, but she looks really interesting, very aggressive. They all look really aggressive in the Band-Maid anime, but whatever. Anyway, let's check out Real Existence. Okay, here we go. Not the best I would say. So it's some kind of Shinto shrine maybe? Something like, it looks like a shrine right there. Yeah, I'm doing the cute roll up. Yeah, exactly, Japanese The text is definitely the most straight up, yeah, like romantic hits, like, yeah, if I'm not a woman in the world at all. Yeah, satisfies you. I wouldn't say that all the songs I listen to so far has been asked like directly like, oh, this is like a romance or like hymns on freedom. I like it because the whole daunting interesting in Maidiacs. Overlap there. It's some overlap in the Japanese culture, certainly. Yeah, certainly. Okay, this is nice. Yeah, you smile down there. Cool. Yeah, this is what I mean, like, hold me tight. Yeah, this feels like the most definite, like, romantic and so on. Certainly have, in most of their songs, right, certainly have a little bit of English, yes, a little bit like, yeah, it's like 1 or 2 English lines by Japanese. But like I said in the older video, I think it's very classic in like modern Japanese, rock and pop. It's very common to have a few English words, yeah, like a people song. Maybe it's not a guitar solo. Yeah, here we go. I see, I always feel she's gonna do a guitar solo now. Yeah, I say that's what we do. I always feel, oh, it's coming. That's the, yeah, like you know when they sit up for the guitar solo. It looks great. This is also one of the better out of visual ones. The temple has a really good back jumping. You know what it reminds me of? Like a fighting game, right? And I love fighting games. Yeah, it reminds me of a fighting game. Obviously, then the dull sims. If anyone, the dull sim stage. No, but it reminds me of like a fighting stage, right? You have like the whole, so like shrine in the background here, and what is missing is a few people doing this thing in the background, like woo, screaming in the background. But yeah, it looks a lot like a fighting game. You have this like decor, right, of a temple and some gold statue in the background, something like here, yeah. This is gonna be a fighting game stage. So many typical street fighter fighting in a temple. That's especially for Brazil. It's missing an elephant in the background. And kids sharing on that. I guess it's about a woman want to be free, right? Yeah. Earlier in the text, they also a little bit like, you know, it's a bit set it free if you love it, right? You better react to this now. Summarize the story here as long as. Okay, yeah, let's break it down. So first of all, I would say one of the better intros, I think, from Band-Maid, like the first, you know, start here, first, second, so what. Definitely a good stage, right? I keep saying it. You have a good stage, right? Yeah, I can't help myself. But to me, I would say easily this was the most, like, you know, fighting game backstory ever, right? I said joking earlier, absolutely mostly does seem right because of the temple and everything. But seriously, right? You know, you have similar with Ryu stage as well, right? Originals too and so on. This here is a very classic setting, right, in Japanese fighting games, where you have some Japanese Shinto shrine, right? And you have this decor, the color schemes, then also, of course, later on. And certainly, of course, we get into this kind of golden statue in the background. Right? Like this here literally looks like exactly a Street Fighter stage. Now, of course, I know that obviously Street Fighter and other fighting games based Street Fighter are based on obviously like fighting inside shrines and whatever, right? Because that's kind of like a typical Japanese thing that we're gonna have this, like, you know, there are a bunch of, you know, Buddhistic and Shintoistic and so on, right? Fights, right, in many games, for example, Lei Feng or whatever, right? So you have a bunch of, like, you know, martial artists that are Shaolin monks and so on. So it all makes sense. But definitely gave me that feeling. But I think it's also that I think it isn't only used the set piece itself, right? But it's also kind of like the angles, it's the lighting effect, right? And so on. So it feels very inspired by typical like kung fu action or whatnot. But anyway, I think another good visual thing. My favorite so far is probably the quarry, right? Which was the previous video, link below for that. When it's in this like abandoned quarry thing, right? That I think is still the best visual. But this is definitely up there too. Maybe my second favorite visual, third favorite visual. Something like that. Now, the song, so these lyrics are probably my favorite so far. Not necessarily the best song, so it sounds a little bit weird, I guess, right? But what I mean is that, you know, there's one way, right? You can sing a song, you can have the text, or whatever you call the lyrics then, right? And here comes the words, and, you know, yada yada, right? And the way you sing that can, of course, be very different, right? So, you can have a song with, I guess, like bad lyrics, but you present them really well. It's kind of like having a plan, you know. Like it's better to execute a plan, you know, in a good way, right? Like really adaptive and shit around whatever, right? And having like a perfect plan, but, you know, not be very adaptive and you kind of fail or whatever. So it's a little bit like that, I suppose. Because I think this song here I don't think this is my favorite song from Band-Maid, like the actual music, even though it was great. It's 9 out of 10 for me, 9 out of 10 of me. So it's probably like maybe like my third favorite or so. I think actual, you know, like music, if it makes any sense. But I think it's number one for me from an actual, like, you know, the text, right, the lyrics, the actual story of text. I hope that makes any sense. But you know what I mean. Like I think there are other songs from them that is slightly better, but maybe the actual text to the story or whatever then is not as interesting. But anyway, maybe I just really like the whole, like, it felt more like a direct romantic storyline, right? You know, set me free, focus on that, right? Hold me tight. So it felt very much more a direct romantic storyline. But I also like the whole overlap, as I said earlier, with the being a doll, right? You know, like what is real, right? What's being a doll? What is love? What is life, so to speak? And it's obviously a huge, like, I keep calling it overlap in the Japanese culture with the maid cast, especially. If you've ever been at a maid coffee whatever, right? So calling someone a doll or whatever, yeah, it's a huge overlap with being maids and dolls. I would say especially in certain subcultures in Japan, right? So I think that's like a really interesting point of it. And then in the end of the lyrics, she's singing like, you know, basically like set me free, right? You know, the classic idea of, right, you know, if you love it, set it free, right? Don't hold someone, you know, still in a bad ship, right? Which I think is a really interesting message, which I really agree with. Generally speaking here, that, you know, if you actually love someone or whatever, right, but you know that you're bad for them, right, yeah, it's better to, you know, divorce or not be together if you know you have like a bad influence on them, if you actually care about them. Of course, most people will not do that. They just keep the unfortunate person in the same bad relationship. So great scene here, I was now staring at the camera, yeah. Then of course you get this smile. No, but that's a good scene, and I think that is something that I missed, right? And I said it since I watched the first music video, right? From Band-Maid. I missed that in some of the videos, they don't really, I think, honestly, to be fair to say here, they don't always present all the band members, right? So I like this kind of, so I love this kind of moments here where like all of them are like staring into camera, you know, they get one like one stare each. I love that. So I think more videos need to have this thing, and this is overall, right? Not just for Band-Maid, but I mean, anytime you have a band with like 4 or 5 members or whatever, right? I like when all of them had like one moment each. And also, of course, this team, when they all have like one short moment each, but they're all together, right? And again, it reminds me of, I suppose, anime openings or whatever, right? Where it's like, you know, every character has like one flex, you know. That's the game My Academia of it, you know. Like every you know, class member in My Academia, right, have one moment where like when they're all flexing up, you know. Ida is like, I'm fast, and you know, like everyone does that one thing, right? I love that shit, yeah. And everyone gets like, even if it's like 1 second per person, but it's always nice when you get like one cool frame each. So you're like bam, 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 and then you know it kind of keeps going, right? So this is a really great scene. And of course, has a powerful guitar solo. Looks fantastic. Yeah, I think this is one of my favorite ones so far. Probably only beaten by Unleashed still. I will not let it go, okay? Unleashed, the anime of the personal Band-Maid Sailor Moon. It's still the best thing ever. It is. I'm sorry. I just yeah. This might be my number 2, but nothing can ever beat Unleashed, guys. You gotta leave a comment below, guys. If it's anything else, what are you seeing, right? Obviously, I'm working down the Band-Maid list, so to speak. But what I know, there is no other as Unleashed, right? Yeah. That's the only thing I feel still I can compare to it. But this was really good as well. This also was a very good. I will give it a strong 9, I guess.